Hello, Facebook world. We're about to get started. It's a dreary day, so I think a lot of you are going to be in on the Facebook thread, and I'm just glad that everybody is engaged, empowered, and moving us forward. So give us a couple minutes and the meeting will be officially started. See, this is what I like to do. Close my eyes. My house, and every time I go to I'm like, I'm not sure I saw it anyway. I feel like if we got invited to weddings, we could like totally rock the dance for that's what I'll tell my that'd be lovely. What do you want to do? I don't know. Oh, Karen, that is so cute. Aren't they cute? I'm totally gonna do that as soon as I'll go on Amazon buy them. I bought them and mine showed up the next day. Walk around some of the okay, this is the pair. I'm totally doing it. My ones are yours are more gold. Well, you got the silver one. Silver gold. See, I didn't see. Oh, they had light gold, medium gold, and something else. I went to DSW and they only had one pair left in the valley. And I happened to be in town when I found the pair. And I was like, she's gonna do it. All right, well, it's long enough, guys. It's 10:04. I don't know about you, but I know about me, and I like to start our meetings on time. So the front desk is gonna tell everybody to come to the back. We're gonna start. No, you're much. So that's half the problem. We're gonna see people kind of come in a minute. So as you know, parking's been a little stressful for about a month. We closed the garage because in our monsoons there was puddling in our garage. So when an underground garage leaks, Houston, we have a problem. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Come on in, Brian. So what's happening is they finally finished the very bottom floor of the garage, and it's all sealed off and all the puddling has stopped on floor 1, which is the very bottom. They're now working on floor 2. So I would think 3 weeks to another month. And then we'll be good for a lifetime for a while, right? At least 20 years. They said they haven't looked at that since the building was built. They haven't made any of these improvements. And the building's now owned by another company. So this is why we have improvements. There's 2 chairs over here if you want them. They're very comfy and cushy. It's totally up to you, or stand in the back. Okay, just once you're happy, there's 2 chairs in there too. So thank you for your understanding. You will be parking between here and the bank for office meetings for the next couple months. I really hope they just get it done and taken care of really, faster. They're out there every day working, so don't think it's not happening. And then they'll reopen the garage and you all can park in the garage again. Yay! All right, so today's Valentine's Day. And you all have a sweetheart. It's called the real estate market. So get excited. It costs you nothing to go out there and tell people how excited and in love you are with the value of home ownership and how much you are excited and love them and can't wait to help them increase their bank accounts with the next when you sell their property. Because what is our job as a listing agent?
Sell the property.
Sell the property. What else is our job as a listing agent? Well, definitely to sell the property, but going into that, to get the highest price with the best terms for that
least
seller.
amount of stress.
Yeah, just take it all on your shoulders, tell them that. We'll go into fiduciary later, right, Barbara? So with that being said, my remote liked me a minute ago. I practiced. We'll get this. We want to wish everybody a happy birthday in February that's having a birthday. So happy birthday, Robert. Happy birthday. There's lots of Lloyd, happy birthday. Amazing people, and just we're grateful you're here, and we're grateful to spend a birthday with you in Valentine's Day. Little thing, $1 Million Club, 39,405,000 out of our office last month, which was the first month to see a pickup since October, right? So you guys are still rocking and rolling and making things happen. Now, during the frenzy months, we saw like 139 million a month. I don't want you to continue to compare yourself to the last 2 years of uncontrollable birthday wishes, but I'm telling you, this is amazing. Like, you guys are rocking it, serving people, making a difference, and we're finally in a negotiable market officially. So I want you to be really proud of that and know that you can speak about that collaboratively. When you're at a listing presentation and they're going, and you're competing with somebody else, and they go, well, what's different about you? Well, I continue to go to my office meetings and meet with other professionals and as a whole entity, because we realize that it's competition out there, but at the end of the day, we're all in it together. We regularly sell around 100 transactions a month in my office, as well as that team of professionals also represents you. And our office specifically, out of the 8, because we have about 3,000 professionals that are also going to be representing you when I take on your listing. Our office specifically does over $35 million of production every single month. So, I mean, even in November, we did over 35 million. So I just want you guys to feel the power of your value and why you're all in it together. February calendar. Who's excited about CE hours? Woo-hoo! Okay, yeah, you can see why I teach, because everyone's like, oh, it's club. Oh, I kind of stayed awake. Well, tomorrow, if you went to Jim's class last month, do not attend the class tomorrow at the Scottsdale Association. I'll be teaching your value matters at the Scottsdale Association of Realtors for you from 9 to noon, no cost. And if you forgot the RSVP, don't worry about it. I don't count anyways. I just show up and have handouts. So please feel free to come. That's agency. Thursday, this Thursday, only advertised to our office, Michelle Lind. Does everyone know who Michelle is? No. Okay, in case you don't, Michelle was our CEO of Arizona Realtors for over 10 years. Before that, she was the legal counsel for Arizona Realtors. Before that, she was a malpractice attorney and decided that was evil. And before that, she was a nurse. She's also a mother, a grandma, and just an amazing woman. She is now considered of counsel. She is who wrote the AAR contract as you know it today. Prior to Michelle, there was what they talk about on the cars. When you hear your friends always say, so in 1989, and some of you here remember this, you would just pull out a napkin, you'd say, I want to buy it for $510. I'm good with this. Buyer signs, seller signs, you go get escrow instructions, right? And now we have 10 pages of awesomeness. And how many of you are sick of the contract growing? Don't really answer that. None of you, because you love the fact that it's a living document that changes with the markets and the time. I know, Jenny, you're like, well, do you really want me to answer that question? I had a friend recently talk to me about something that really gets me down, and this goes into contract law. I tell my friends regularly that are other brokers, I'm so sick and tired of not having a law degree. Because I hate it when people look at me and say, well, you're not a lawyer. Broker to broker disputes, right? And he said, you really have to overcome that. And I said, well, tell me how, because I'm trying to solve things. And all I hear sometimes from the other brokers, well, you're not a lawyer. And I get to go, well, neither are you. So what's your point? You know? And his comment was, and I want you guys to remember this, because it's not just for a broker, it's all of you. I am so happy I don't have to pay for law school or to become a lawyer, because Article 26 of the Arizona Constitution allows me to practice law within the contract confines. Now, if you ask me for something outside of my wheelhouse, I will refer you out, but any good attorney would refer you out because they have a niche market too. So Article 26 allows me to interpret and pass on to you residential real estate contract. So I don't need to be a lawyer. I need experience. And how many lawyers have ever sold a house in Arizona? Rare, small amount, because selling houses has nothing to do with law degree. So who has experience? Who has real life experience? Who knows the ins and outs? You guys. So Article 26 of the Real Estate Constitution is another value prop for you. So when someone like tries to make you little itty bitty in negotiation, and they say something like, well, you're not an attorney. Well, neither are you, but let me tell you why I'm glad I'm not an attorney and why my real life experience matters and how I have value for my client. Or twist it completely to make it a positive and talk about it in your listing presentations. Do you realize Arizona realtors have this right? Because how many of your sellers are truly from Arizona? I mean, it's like 30%, maybe, right? And so if they're from here, great, they only know one way of living. But if they're not from here, they're probably from an attorney state. They're probably from a state that doesn't practice like us. They usually don't just come from Nevada, you know? California does happen, but let's just face it, they should be an attorney state because they're very confusing humans. So if you want more contract information, Thursday for our office only, Jim Sexton and Michelle Lynn, contract tactics and pitfalls. And then Friday, we've been having 2 rev ups every Friday on Zoom, one at 9 and one at 1. So plug in if you need to get like re-zoomed up and think of new ideas. All right, who's going to Summit? Yeah. All right, we're going to Vegas. While we're in Vegas, all the managing brokers and our designated broker will be in Vegas. I don't know if I'll see the sunshine, and I don't know if I'll know what day tomorrow really is, but we'll be there Sunday through Thursday. If you need immediate assistance, text is the fastest way. Hey, I just emailed you something. Please give me a call. Because when you're in and out, I don't know if you guys ever remember not seeing the sunshine for 4 days. Like you have to remind yourself, oh, there's an outside. You know, Vegas like really likes to drop you inside. It's really hard to always hear your phone. So please, if you need immediate assistance, just send me a text message and I will answer you the same day. Okay. I will not go to sleep unless I check all my text messages. You can call and leave a voicemail. How many of you have experienced with me that my voicemail likes to tell you it's full? Yeah, thanks, John. Yeah. Like, call me out. I don't know what's happening, and I need to call Verizon, maybe buy more space. I get like 3 voicemails, maybe because you guys are so incredibly detailed and amazing with that. And it says, you have no more space. Your mailbox is full. So I apologize. I'm doing better.
Have you tried deleting your deleted?
Yeah. I deleted my deleted the other day and we had 3 voicemails and it still said I was full.
Maybe delete Verizon.
I
I don't know.
know.
You can just keep moving.
But the text messages there go, you have reached a maximum. So, you know, just let me know what you need. Market stats, let's talk about it. I unfortunately forgot to erase the actual numbers. So you can see how I do math now. It was this number and now it's this number. So right now, active listings, we have 15,995. That means we're down 800 listings from last month. Single family homes, we were at 13,620. We're now down to 12,753, which means we're approximately down 1,000. Yes, this means that I should get more sleep and finish my slideshow. But you can kind of see the math. UCB and pending, we're currently at 9,188. We are up 3,000 contracts than last month. We're back up, guys. Our negotiations are back up, which means our $1 million club is about to go back up. Single family homes, we're up again, 3,000. When I break it down and take condos, townhouses, all that out, single family, we went from 4,068 to 7,488 properties in 1 month under contract. So even though inventory is down, everything's moving. Eric Carlene was so kind to, I don't know, everyone know Eric? You gotta stand up, Eric. Yeah. And he's in the office every single day. He makes phone calls every single day. He talks about new topics with people. He gets things rocking and rolling. Every day he tells me I need a buyer, I need a seller. This is what I'm working on today. He's always moving and grooving. What have you felt in the market? What have been your wins?
What I've been feeling, the buyers are back. It's like things are selling. My one property, it's been sitting for a while. And over one weekend, I ended up getting 3 offers over the weekend, and then all of a sudden, the following day, someone else called me up because my client was going to accept contingent offers. And they called me up and said, Eric, my property just went under contract. Is your buyer ready? Or I'm sorry, is your seller? I was like, I just had 3 contracts. So I see that happen, and when I'm going out making offers with my other clients, guess what? Same thing. I'm seeing them getting multiple offers again as well. And I relay that on to everybody because I'm sitting there watching the interest rates. Interest rates went up. That was back, we'll say, right around the holidays, and they come down. But as soon as they started coming down again, everybody is kind of, we're used to it. And then they just spiked up a little bit just the other day. It was like this week. So who knows what that's going to happen, but I see things taking.
What price points?
Right now I'm right around 5.
Okay,
So at 5, I just did another one at 7.
okay.
Everything in the lower ends, right around 300. Same thing. So if you have buyers, just be aware, like, hey, you're gonna be in multiple offer situations, and tell your sellers, this is what we are experiencing. So,
Anybody else want to add to Eric? Go ahead, Derek.
I have clients who were looking for a downtown sort of place
mhm,
with a casita or, some sort of livable unit, and we ran into one place that was listed at 380 and they had 12 offers.
Yeah,
And another place that was, I think, closer to 6 or so, and they had multiple offers. I think they had 3 offers in as well. So I thought it was maybe just because it was like a niche type of house, something that had a casita, but apparently it's more widespread than that.
I follow Comfort Report, it's like my religion. But it's like, even at the meeting with Tina, they were showing you like contracts, accepted contracts, have just spiked tremendously.
Yeah.
I mean, we are almost back to where we were, you'd say, prior to whatever this huge dip was. So,
October.
yeah,
or
yeah, it's coming back,
November.
it's coming back fast. So if you're looking for properties for yourselves, you may want to hurry up and jump in.
This one.
Hey, guys, yes, please.
That's it. What else? Is there any other questions or?
But, well, I'm gonna keep calling on you. Okay, so you
Sure.
can sit, but I'm gonna keep calling on you. Because Eric is not at all part-time. Eric supports a family of 4, real estate, full-time, all the time. Like truly, when we get commission checks, you can get 100 grand bars, which I know I don't pass out. I pass out paydays because I get that this is how you pay for your livelihood, right? So I just always appreciate seeing your hustle, seeing how hard you work and sharing your wins. For the past few months, though, Eric has been talking a lot to people on the phone to capture them on creative financing. See, you guys do need to understand and ask for assistance. Carrybacks are real, okay? But understanding the ins and outs, and they don't work for everybody, but it's worth a discussion point. It's worth saying, hey, how can I help? There's a lot of people right now, I'm amazed, but that actually have their home paid off. That's the best scenario. Wraps are not our friend typically, but carrybacks with a free and clear property can really help a seller have a really good asset moving forward if they don't need all the cash now. So let's make sure we fully understand that. We did have a couple months ago now, or a month ago, I think it was last month, but every day feels like a week and a week feels like a month and so on and so forth. Some days, right? So last month we had Patrick McQueen in talking about the risk of carrybacks, but if you have a situation like that, please come to me directly. Let's sit down, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what your client's abilities are and let's hash it out. Even if they get an offer, do they have to move forward with that offer of it? No, but should they know about it and should they know if it's an option for them? Right?
Phone to ring too.
And it gets your phone to ring because you say, I don't think inside the box, I think outside the box, and I care about what's most important for you. Because there's 2 words that are main goals when representing a seller or a buyer, right? What are they? They start with P. And you say remote, you did it. And isn't that giving more options? Isn't that knowing everything to do with residential financing? Right? Okay, absorption rates, guys. I'm very excited to tell you that we have 3.92 months of housing supply. This is called a balanced market. So when you're seeing those 12 offers, when you're seeing the 3 offers, when you're seeing the 6 offers again, what's different in today's multiple offer situation? That from yesterday's multiple offer situation? What's different right now?
There's more inventory for sure.
Are buyers giving away all their rights?
No.
No. Are agents finally standing up and saying, I am proud to tell you why you should use me because I won't waive your due diligence? But seller property disclosure statements do matter. Right, all those little things. So right now it's a balanced market, so please do not assume. For you to win a multiple offer situation, never give away the enchilada when representing a buyer, okay? Be strategic, understand what their abilities are, and never waive that due diligence period. I know I've been talking about that 2 years, but truly, it is nothing but a problem for you. It's, yeah, and Dory, tell them why it's a problem for the seller.
Well, you know, if you give your buyer an opportunity to have that due diligence, it mitigates your own risk. Later on, after the house closes, something happens and they're like, hey, you should have known this, you should have disclosed this. So I think from a seller's agent standpoint, I always say, hey, give them that opportunity. It protects you and the amount of risk you're exposed to.
So Dory, if I hired you as my professional, what you would do is if we received an offer of 0 days for due diligence, you would counter them and make them have a due diligence period?
I mean, potentially, yeah. I mean,
Or you'd highly suggest?
I would highly recommend, I just think that's in everyone's best interest. It protects the agent, it protects the seller, it protects the buyer, the agent. I just think it's wise for everyone involved.
Awesome. That we are not in the birthday candle market. We are completely in the strategic market. If your client's offering less than a certain amount, please, please set yourself up for success like we did prior to 2020. Tell them why. Ask for comps. Make it a team play. We represent a buyer that wants to buy your house. We have a seller who wants to sell your. Will you help us understand where you came up with this list price? Because this is what we're seeing. You know, be transparent. Go out there and negotiate those deals. The other thing is, guys, just let you know, the sales price did decrease to 440. We were at 467 when we pulled our 1004 last month. It just means things are negotiating. I mean, if you watch what's happening right now, and if the house was listed prior to November, you watched it go down 100,000 in list price. That has nothing to do with fair market value. Sales price has to do with fair market value, right? But you see the list price, don't be afraid to negotiate. But know to get on the phone and keep being that nag. I call myself a real estate nag when I'm doing a deal. I will call, I will email, I will text you until you answer the question. Hey, Jason Matson, we got chairs up here. You should come on in.
The whole time.
The whole time. Totally awesome. The parking was so easy. Such easy parking today. The list prices, guys, we have gone up in list price. But again, we have more houses coming on the market. So more people going, hey, I can make this happen. And then the 10-mile radius of our office, where is the majority of where you guys work. Okay. We actually have more inventory than we've had in a long time. We have over 4 months of inventory in single family homes right here. Where our list price is at $857 currently, and our median sales price is at $595. So Eric, when you're talking about the 5 seeing multiple offers, we're actually seeing that all around, but it's now more than sales price, the terms, the communication, the engagement, the keeping people going together. Because the other thing we saw in the past 2.5 years when we did have the frenzy, right? The most cancellations we've ever seen. So now it's no one wants to really cancel. They're really going in and negotiating. But now how do we keep the deals alive now that we have FHA buyers back? We have VA buyers back. We have people who actually need underwriting processes, right? And do things sometimes take time. So how do we keep everybody involved to move forward? Now, I did not announce this in writing, and I didn't put it out to you. If you're here today to see Joan Levinson, unfortunately, she's had a family emergency and she's on the East Coast as of today. But she promises to come and give you tidbits later. Thank you so much. But I always appreciate you all showing up. Sorry, Jim, I should have texted you. But we just love seeing you, so I'm a very selfish human when it comes to you. I'm like, how do I get more gym time? Also, one thing to note, 97%. We were at like 103% a minute ago, right? Things are selling at 97% of their current list value. Still moving and grooving, isn't it? I do want you to keep in mind, concessions come off value for comparables. By that, I mean, if you sell a house, 123 Main Street sells at $450,000. And you go to the very bottom and that seller gave that buyer $6,000 in credit. 450 just dropped to 446, 444. Okay, so keep that in mind. Not everybody is reporting things properly.
Please report it. Yes.
If you're in a negotiation after contract or in the buyer's inspection notice negotiation, and you give money in lieu of repairs, is that a concession?
Yeah.
Yes, it should be reported, in my opinion. There is no strict ARMLS rule on you reporting that. But I'm saying if no one reports it, we don't have accurate values.
But even if you get an offer that is saying they want concessions, put it in when you put the thing into MLS, so it's properly reported in there, and then change it if, you add something else.
And that change thing, thank you so much for the emails. I do appreciate having value. But as a realtor, you know that right now, if it closes by mistake, if you put a mistake in within 5 days, you can go in yourself and you can make those edits. If you want me to do it for you, I will get to it eventually, but I just want you to know you have complete control. Cool. Hey guys, don't look too happy. It's not Valentine's Day with like a gray sky out there. I feel really bad for one of my friends. He's newly married. It's his first year. He's one of our realtor friends. He came in yesterday. So psyched to take his new wife on a hot air balloon ride today. Poor guy, poor guy. All right, we're gonna touch base on this and then we have some guest speakers. SPDS, the seller property disclosure statement was updated when?
February 1st.
If you didn't know that, now you do. Best tool to use to mitigate risk as disclosures. In the event you're representing a seller currently and you are not under contract, have them do the new form. Can you force a seller to do the new form?
No,
Do we ever have grumpy sellers that just don't want to do it?
Nope.
But what can we do if they say, no?
Write a email or something in writing, hey, I recommend the seller complete the new form and didn't. CYA.
I like that for my file, but what do I like even more for my file? That going to them.
my broker, oh, she wants you to fill this out, so I'm fine. Will you just do this for me?
My wife really enjoys when I drink less beer at night and you're just stretching me out. Yeah, email them and say, hey, you're not required and you said that you didn't want to, but I still want to provide you a copy of the most current disclosure statement and let you know I'm only trying to reduce and mitigate your risk to make sure that you're in compliance with what the standards of practice are in real estate. You can make that really, really nice. You can make that fluffy. We can do it a million different ways, but at the end of the day, we have to, and I love that Dory's like, I did tell them, I'm documenting it. And that's exactly it. It documents it to the client. Because the last thing you need is a seller coming back to you saying, you never told me to update it. And you're like, well, we had a conversation. As professionals, does our hearsay ever matter when we come to disputes?
Get it in writing.
Will courts or mediation panels or arbitration panels take in the hearsay of a consumer though?
Yes.
Yeah, and if you don't have something in writing to back your own liability up, Houston, we have an issue. Well, Mandy, I told him. Cool. Can you prove it? Well, no, I didn't record the conversation. Well, did you follow up in writing? And that's why that's always so important. Also, how many of you are confused about the new buyer's inspection notice? Well, not Jason, because we had a really good lunch and learn. Thank you for the burrito. That was amazing. Well, just in case you're kind of curious why you would be confused, did that word address change how things are done now? I hope you're saying yes, because I've done a lot of them, Mandy, since October 1st, 2022, and no one seems to be on the same page. Are you okay? Do you need more coffee? No one's talking today. All right, what has not changed? I need a list of items disapproved. Period. Always. Never be so vague you don't have a list of items disapproved. And it might be the buyer's advisory. It's an item, right? But now I can actually say, and I'm not really excited about it, but I can actually say, in lieu of repairs, the buyer is requesting $5,000, or the seller is to credit the buyer $5,000 for its closing costs based on the items below disapproved. And I can list the items disapproved. I can flat out ask for money. I don't have to ask for repairs. Where before we were like, oh, that's nice. You can ask all day, but we're just going to focus on the repairs. Now buyers can ask because it's being addressed. The only time, I'll go right to you, Chuck, in a second. Okay, the only time You would add an addendum as when,
When there's a dollar value that has to be disclosed.
because if the lender, which Chuck is about to be the lender in a moment, have anything to do with the buyer's inspection notice.
You hope not.
Who
Do not send it to the lender.
else don't you send it to?
Title, because title has to send it to the lender. They are obligated.
A escrow company is obligated to send it to the lender. So in that situation, you would say, see addendum 1. And then addendum 1 would say seller to contribute $5,000 towards any cost incurred by buyer for this transaction, period. Right? But they go together and one references the other. If it is cash, there's no lender, you can use the buyer's inspection notice as an addendum to the contract. I prefer you to practice the same way for all. Be very, very careful about that. Chuck, and then whoever else has a question.
Yeah, you kind of explained most of that. So when you said with your requesting it, but I think you have to be real careful on that, because it's on the contract and you reference something else on that contract. Another writer can ask for it.
Oh, so you don't want us to put on the addendum in lieu of repairs?
I would leave that part out. I'm just looking for a concession. That's all.
Yeah, the addendum is very straightforward. The buyer's inspection notice is the specific in lieu of repairs, right? So we're all on the same
Because
page.
if it's, if they see that you were original what repair, well, what is that?
Mm.
We don't want to question it.
The last thing you want is that inspection notice being asked for by the underwriter.
Right.
And
This
they
is-
can do it.
And now that FHA buyers and VA buyers are back in the playing field, first of all, do not just say no because it's FHA and VA. Like, educate your sellers. Conventional financing is just as hard, right? It's just a different down payment, different quality. But on the appraisal, they do look for more health safety aspects, right? But if a conventional client is only putting 3% down or 5% down because those are owner occupied rates, I'm letting you know they're looking for the exact same things if they actually show up at the property. But that's why I think we also see an increase in our contracts. We have more buyers that are actually able to negotiate. You know how many buyers I've heard lately excited to say, I'm ready to get back in it because I was losing all day long because I didn't qualify for conventional? Like, they're really excited. So keep all of that in mind. Also, if you,
May I make an observation before you move on?
Yeah.
Okay, so if the, this is my observation, say, for instance, a buyer is paying cash and then after the, bids and all that, they decide that they're going along, which, makes everybody really excited. So you still want to have that, the money portion onto the addendum, and not just on the bids.
correct.
So that's my observation.
Yeah, thank you, Bonnie. Bonnie's a rock star. She's always doing a deal every month and out there. Follow Bonnie on Facebook. She's so involved with the world. I really liked your post the other day of that women's thing you went to at the, I don't know, you were all dressed up again. It looked really fun.
Oh, the Asian thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was fun.
Jim, do you have anything you want to add?
No, you're taking away all the stuff I'm talking about on Thursday. Or
Bam.
still talking about.
Well, don't worry. We need to learn it 10 times, right? And I'm excited to attend that class so I can learn something too. The last thing I want to talk about is cure notices. How many of you love cure notices? Yeah. And if you don't yet, that is your Valentine's Day gift from me. You will love, you will hug, you will understand remedies. Love the cure notice. What the cure notice is a way to tell a non-compliant party that they're in non-compliance. And if they don't solve, I did not say breach, you hear this, non-compliant. If they do not solve the issue within 3 days of delivery, which really is like, if you do our math, like 4 days of happiness, then they will be in breach. And a non-breaching party has the right to cancel on a breaching party, right? And the reason I'm hitting this is I said they have the right. Doesn't say required, it doesn't say automatic. As a Realtor professional, your job is to provide all options to your client. Your client can decide to keep someone in non-compliance. They can decide not to issue a cure notice. You need to give them all angles, but you need to do that in writing. And you need to make sure they understand this can go a couple ways. It's taken a couple ways. Either we're gonna get loan denial if we're doing it on loan docs, like they're not even gonna try to play the game anymore, right? They're just like, protect the earnest money. The agent on the other side has no clue what a cure notice is, so we're not worried about it. which I'm not gonna ask them if they can define it and understand it. And then it could just light a fire to get things done on time. But you're stuck in this contract until the other side's in breach. And the only way we can ever put them in breach, sorry, I keep doing that to you, is if we issue a cure notice. Because clients like to say fancy words like breach. Oh, fraud's another one. They like to say lots of things, right? They're like, that sounds smart. Like, define it. And we have to take in, yes, you're right. They're not in compliance, but the only way to put them in breach is X. You have to give those options. It's not up to you, it's up to them. But put the options in writing. And what fiduciary duty does that fall under? You remember him, right? Like, it's the golden retriever. Come on. Protect. And that's not a fiduciary duty, but I like protecting humans.
Disclosure. No.
That could fall under disclosure. It could slightly do that, but well, starts with an A. Accounting, accountability to the timeline. So make sure that we're always remembering accounting, and then it goes into, and it can fall in disclosure, but obedience. I have to be lawfully obedient to my client, no matter how stupid I think their response is. Like, let's just be real. Sometimes we're like, seriously? Obedience. Thank you for sparking my day, guys.
So why is it that if you issue a cure period notice, the other side agent like thinks it's this, I mean, they always want to argue with you and they view it as, I mean, it's literally, it's a like huge thing that everybody's like, oh, you got a cure period? When it's really, if it's explained properly, I don't know why when we first did these, everybody had this as a negative. And instead, it actually helps get people back on track. So
I have some theories on that concept. First of all, people don't like updates or change. Secondly, commission breath is what I smell. I smell, why are you threatening this deal? I see people taking things as a threat. I like to remind people that prior to 2004, 3 or 4, 5, one of those years in single digits. When I first started in real estate, everything went to automatic breach. If you didn't perform, the other party could cancel. You were in breach. There was no non-compliance. And whose fault usually was it that the client was in breach? The realtor, right? Because we didn't, and we couldn't, because email was kind of a new concept. Everyone was still on AOL. It was really exciting. We had to pay for subscriptions, right? And like the fax machine, if it broke down, the receptionist, which was me, was like murdered on site. My fax machine always worked. So the agent was coughing up earnest money because the consumer was saying, hey, you didn't tell me my timeline. You can't prove you told me my timeline. You just cost me $5,000. Really, it was 1,000, 1,500, and 500 back then. But those concepts, right? Michelle Lynn said, hey, Michelle claimed that when she said it, and I never doubt the woman. I mean, Jim, you can debate with her. I ain't debating with her. You'll see that on Thursday. Michelle Lynn said, hey, why is it that the residential purchase contract has no cure timeline, where every single other industry has some kind of curable timeline? And they created the cure notice, which went misunderstood for at least 4 years. People thought there was automatic cancellations when it first came out. They thought they didn't have to issue notice to actually perform things. They thought they needed mutual instruction to cancel, right? Escrow had no clue what it meant. I mean, to this day, escrow, just to be honest, is why you need a really good EO. Where's Lynn? Thank you for the good EOs. Sometimes when they get that second section of the pre-closing walkthrough, it's like, well, you just sent me the final walkthrough. No, I sent you a cure notice. Please read the document. Right? So it's been so misunderstood and such an attack mode. What I like to say is, would you rather not have a cure notice and just write that whole section out of the contract to the other agent? So then your client can just be in breach and we'd have the right to walk away with the earnest money. So if they're going to attack me, I kind of give it back to them a little bit on the contract. Or I just say, can you show me where it's not my job to issue this under the obedience of my obedience duty to my client? Can you show me that? So you know, you got to deal with it, but also I never do it as a slap in the face. I'm always going to say to the other, I do try to pick up the phone. Hey, just want to let you know, just following contract timelines. Unfortunately, your client hasn't performed, so we are issuing a cure notice. Everybody still wants to make the deal come together. Can you just help us out? That's how I really come from it, Joni. And if the other agent's just going to be mean, I've been yelled at. I'm a broker. I own my own firm, and I go, because no one wants to deal with you. Oh, yeah, I keep that inside. I say, absolutely, you're so much smarter than me. You're so much better than me. I would never own my own company. But can you help me get us back in compliance? You are so awesome. I coach myself every day on the way to work. So awesome. So with that, Chuck, you want to come up and talk about financing?
That's cool.
We did. Yeah, 3 minutes. Isn't that what-
So, good to see buyer activity, and I'm hearing that, yeah, with a lot of agents, so that's kind of, I think, happening all over the valley right now. I talked to someone that had a listing, not this weekend, the weekend before, and she had like 200 people went through the house.
Wow.
A month ago, how many people were walking through?
10?
Yeah, so anyway, rates have been coming down, and he made a great comment. People are also starting to get used to them, right? It happened so fast that it really blew people out of the water, and they were just like, their jaw was hitting the ground. But now it's been around for a little bit. And rates kind of came down a little bit and have come down since fall overall. They've ticked up went up a little bit last week.
So what are the rates today?
Today.
Well, CPI report came out today, regarding inflation, right? And it wasn't great. It still was down from 1 year ago. So it dropped to 6.4. It wasn't 6.6. Originally, earlier in the month, they were hoping it would get down to maybe 6.3. But then they were seeing things. They said, "Oh, let's hope it's just not worse than 6.4." So it did hit that. So last time I checked, we were like 40 basis points down, the 30-year bond was, which means rates going up. Okay. We'll see long term. I mean, on that report, it includes a lot of things. So that's core inflation. Food was up 10%, over 10% from a year ago. And you guys know that, right?
Yeah,
Go buy a dozen eggs.
Craig Bamford is in the office today and he has eggs. They'll become friends.
Yeah, I mean, that's like gold right now. Eggs are like gold right now. But so that's that I would say, we're all projecting, most analysts are projecting that rates will keep coming down the rest of the year, but this inflation is the only thing you got to really worry about. It really needs to come down, and there's a lot of pressure on that. I just listened today to, I'll grab you 1 second, to a guy this morning, and he said this could be this inflation. He says, I guarantee you it's still around when the next election comes. So that's 2 years almost, right? So how much will it drop? There's no way it's getting to 2%, the Fed says by the year. Not happening, especially if they keep throwing money in the pot, right? We know inflation is caused by too many dollars following too few goods. And there's been a lot of cash dumped. Government's dumped a lot of cash into the system over the last few years. So, yeah, we're paying for it now. We always do. Question.
I just want to go back to Mandy's question of where rates, right?
Well, I didn't go and pull on this morning. I haven't had a chance to go in, but they're gonna, so figure 40, if it's around 35, 40 basis points, that's probably worth maybe an eighth in rate, maybe not even quite. That's a cost. So let's say the rate's
I want like a number that's.
yeah, I'll just give you an idea what that means when that moves. So when it says the rate's 6%, so he pulled it up, which just remember these guys, these are 25% down, 780 FICOs. That's quoting rate is almost impossible. But according to this is I don't know if
The Mortgage Daily News.
Yeah, so 6.54 is what they're saying for a 30-year fix.
And I saw a lender that posted 6.875.
Well, and they're gonna be all over the place. You guys are right. So and it's gonna get even harder, and it won't take too much time. There's some new LLPAs coming out. That's loan level pricing adjustments that Fannie and Freddie are putting into effect, and it's as of May 1st when they buy it, unless it gets pushed out. It is almost gonna make it impossible to give a quote over the phone, due to the facts of all these different factors that will change that rate on you. So a client calls, says, hey, this is my FICO score, this is my income. And then they're wrong. The debt ratio goes from 38% to 41%, totally gonna change the rate.
When is that coming out? I'm sorry, when's that coming out?
May 1st, when we buy the loan. So actually, lenders are gonna have to start enforcing this sooner, because that means they gotta sell it by May 1st. As of May 1st, what they get paid for that loan will be based on those rules. It's very, and part of what they're doing is a little bit of rob Peter to pay Paul. They're trying, it's really gonna hit your main buyer. You're a pretty good credit. Decent income, all that, and what they're doing is for first-time home buyers, they're not gonna hit them as hard with their FICO scores, and they're gonna make the people in the middle pay.
As always.
That's the way it goes, right? So that means their rates are probably gonna be a little higher. So other people get lower MI and lower interest rates, even though their credit doesn't show that. So
Oh, that's.
it's really goofy and it's gonna be challenging. You almost, what I'm telling people, what you should be doing on any of your deals. I want if you can, please pre-underwrite my loan. That's really the only way you're gonna know 100% sure that rate sticks. Okay, so that means you have an underwriter looking at that income. All right, this is the income, this is the ratios. Then you should be pretty good when you lock it. So it's a conversation we're gonna have to have with our buyers, because otherwise, guess what? They're gonna be really pissed when you call and say, or they're gonna call you and say, can you believe that LO you sent to me? He just jacked my rate up. The LO has got to really explain to that client, hey, let me explain, this is your rate, this is what we're gonna lock it at, but the underwriter says that this overtime that you want to use, they don't want to count all of it, or they count lesser than I'm counting. Could change the rate a little bit. So I'll let you know if that happens. See, that whole thing, just like with you guys, have the conversation, it makes it a lot easier to deal with it. Otherwise, they only hear what they want to hear a lot of times, right?
So
Yeah.
real quickly, do you still have the program where there's a refinance if somebody closed by March 30th?
Yes, and we expanded it and pushed it out too. So now it's gonna go through, I think, the end of September or October. It includes arms as well. There was some little writing in there that was saying it wouldn't include arms. Our arms are really good right now, so we can, those are, and I'm doing pretty much offering, if it's conventional deal, 10-1 arms there. And explain why they should take that versus a 30-year fix. That's pretty much everybody is.
Why
So-
are they doing that?
Well, for one thing, you're gonna pay a lot more for a 30-year fixed rate you're never staying in. So if I can get you, like I have a guy I locked with no cost, 5.25 last Thursday. So rates gone up a little bit, but around there. He could have got 4.75 if he would have kicked in a point. Okay, and he was gonna do that, but he needed more cash to close, so so that's pretty good, right? And then if rates drop, we're gonna do that free refi rate rebound program for up to 5 years. And another thing is, let's say you're gonna get 6.5, we'll use that number. Why would anybody take a 30-year fix at 6.5% when they could get 5.25? So a point by 1.25 life. You add the math over 10 years and how much money that is. At the end of 10 years, even if the rate goes up, how many years would you have to pay the higher rate to even break even? Or would catch up? So 30-year fix, it's more about people, it makes them feel good. It's a warm jacket and a cold night. But in reality, most people never stay in 10 years. It's really, you're kind of wasting money a lot of times, most times. Thank you.
Some really good advice.
Yeah.
Before you sit down, the other thing, just so you can stand up there and smile. If you're wondering where John is, John, met this nice lady in Texas and he moved. So John's in Texas. And so Chuck is filling in, and if you have any great loan officers, Chuck definitely wants to interview them because he drove from Gilbert today. The next thing I want to talk to you before you pass out your cheat sheet.
Well, I'm gonna put them here and you guys can grab them because she was talking about seller concessions, the cheat sheet for seller concession.
Yeah, seller concessions are a big deal, and so we'll definitely pass that out. Is appraisals. How many of you understand that your clients need the home to appraise to close on the home? Yeah, so what we're about to start seeing is you need to educate, you need to set forth with the appraiser, if you represent a buyer or a seller, I don't care what side you represent. If they start putting declining markets on that appraisal report, which I've already seen a few, you need to convince them that your client's in a stable market. Declining market equals loan denial. So be careful, don't jump the gun, don't just say, hey, the appraised value came in. Okay, that underwriter needs to approve that appraisal report.
Now, think that they'll still approve of the claiming market. But where it can hit you is some investors, like these investors are some of them, not all of them, some of them are saying automatic 5% LTV reduction. So the first limit is a program. You can qualify, they had a 20% down, now you're gonna put 20%.
Lynn? Thank you, Chuck. That's awesome. Thank you for that advice. So we need people with cash flow again. See, there we go back to cash flow. Like, I don't know about you, but my mom did not give me a money tree. I thought they planted those in your backyard with grass. I was really convinced at 16, like the world would be at my fingertips.
I mean, someone, doesn't over your, trust funds, that's what.
Yeah, she lived. Great news. So Rock Title, thank you for everything you do for us. Would you mind giving us a little insight?
Hi, I'm Lynn Carlson with Rock Title. We have an amazing business training and development platform that we provide weekly training classes, free, all via Zoom. So it's super easy to just hop on. It's every Thursday from 1 to 2. Tomorrow it is on Canva. Don't know if you're familiar with Canva. It's a very user-friendly. You can log in and get a free account. The training's from 1 to 2 tomorrow. I don't know if you guys know Justin Taylor, who's amazing. He will be teaching you all the ins and outs of Canva. For all your social media content, reels, stories. It's good stuff. And it's something, you know, you can create flyers on there, printable flyers. Hopefully you can join. If not, you can still log into Rock University, become a member and access our entire video library. We have all kinds of classes that you can hop on. So
How many of you logged into Rock University?
it's amazing.
If you
Yeah,
have
thank
not
you.
logged into that, you need to. It's unbelievable.
We're the only title company that provides this. So
I agree.
yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks, Monica.
You're fantastic, Lynn. Thank you so much. I've been working with Julia a lot upstairs, in our office directly, and she's doing a great job. So if you haven't gone upstairs and met Julia yet, please do so. And Rock Title brought you guys Chick-fil-A today. So, thank you, Lynn.
Oh, you're welcome. You know what?
Classes
that is
ended.
tomorrow. I'm at every Thursday from 1 to 2. I don't know why I think today's Wednesday, but whatever. Thank you so much.
I think it's today's Wednesday too.
1 to 2. Please reach out anytime. I'd love to see you in our meeting.
Awesome, thank you.
Keep Lynn's festive shoes.
You see my shoe?
Dory is a noticer. She's good. Those are nice. Happy Valentine's, Lynn. Pamela Bain is not with us today, but she is our new American Home Shield representative. And Jamie was given a new territory. He moved, so he needed something closer to his house. So if you need an American Home Shield person, please reach out to Pamela.
Shield just absorbed one guard too.
You're right.
American Home Shield is actually not American Home Shield owned. If you want to really dig into that, there's a parent company of all these home warranties. How many of you realize that when you deal with, like, let's say security title, that you're really dealing with fidelity? Right? Like what we're sold, just like on the grocery store shelves, it's all really the same brand, but just repackaged. So yeah, they did just merge with OneGuard.
And they already own Landmark.
They own Landmark, but it's not actually American Home Shield. It's the parent company. And they tell me the names of these things, but I don't.
But
So
they
we just
actually
keep moving
do
forward.
have different platforms.
They do.
And how they address things is different, so.
But just know that you're dealing with the same overview. So that's kind of how that works. So they're all the same. But then we also have Old Republic, which is not in that parent company. So you have to actually leave a full parent company to not get the end result if you go to the top, right? So just kind of know that. All right, let's talk about, anybody have a buyer with a need?
I have a buyer with me.
Tell them, Bonnie.
I need something in Gilbert, preferably the main house would need to have about 4 bedrooms, needs to have a guest house, not guest quarters, and not like a little 4x4 guest quarters. Needs to have a pool and a decent sized yard. Preferably completely remodeled, but can do some work up to about 1.3.
Find her that house. Get that listing.
Julie just left, but Julie has a client looking between about 1 and 2.2 million. Must have mountain views, preferably from inside the home through those beautiful windows, right? Not that you have to walk outside to the edge of the driveway and then see the mountains.
On the left.
Not go up on the roof.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Preferably single story, but they would look at one with a second story. Anywhere from the Phoenix Mountain Preserve all the way out to Carefree Cave Creek. Pool preference, they want an outdoor barbecue, but they can put a lot of that in depending on the price. So again, 1 million to about 2.2. Let me know if you have any, I'll get them to Julie.
We've got one, Chris Cowan, our team, has one at Cape Creek.
I can't say that you can see it from the driveway or from the living room, but there's mountains, it's in Cape Creek, it's 1.2, I think it's 1.27.
So I'll make sure you get Julie's info today. Yeah. All right, anybody have an upcoming listing they want to tell? Okay, go ahead, Robert.
Township Hills, 3314 square feet on 2.1 acre, pool spa. Plenty of room to have a casita. The house is just a 2-bedroom. But there's like other spaces, like in the main bedroom upstairs, there's like a whole office, so someone works from home would be great. And go ahead.
No,
That's it. I'm just.
But I have a current listing, would love some activity on it, if you get a chance, I was trying to get it on a Phoenix home tour and it got canceled. I don't know, there was something called the Open going on Friday, so they canceled the tour, realtors weren't interested. It is over near, it's on Dreamy Draw, so anybody know where Enchiladas is? It's right near that, it's a townhome, 2 stories, about 650, it's 3 bedrooms. Has beautiful, it looks out onto the wash there with beautiful trees and stuff. It's really a great little home. So.
Go ahead, Mama.
I have, in couple of weeks, a listing I have put it in Sun City West, in 400 some range. Then in Gilbert, it's not $1 million property, but it's a gorgeous remodel, a 4-bedroom, 3 bath. It's got a basement guest house. It does not have a pool, but a good decent sized backyard for 625.
Some of your info on your Sun City property, please help me.
All right, guys, well, happy Valentine's Day. Jim, do you have anything to say before we conclude? I mean, Jim, he's our man.
You know, it is interesting, and Eric, I just caught the tail end of your presentation, when you're looking at market and the market numbers and how they're moving. You know, and to me, as I'm sitting here, as opposed to back in the day when I'm.
You're welcome to come up here.
Well, you know, but no, when I'm sitting here, you know, it's important to have enthusiasm, right? When you're the real estate agent, it's important to have sound bites that allows you to drop them into the conversation. It's not like you're preaching. It's just kind of like, oh, you know, matter of fact, this is happening or that's happening or whatever's going on. And man, you do a great job in the presentation doing that. Matter of fact, just because you gave me your outline, now, you know, you filled in all the blanks on what you want for some of the answers for the class on Thursday. But if you haven't already RSVP'd for it, it's going to be fun because I was talking to Michelle yesterday, and Michelle's kind of the opposite of Mandy. Michelle likes to lead fun, and that would be me. And I don't lead very well, and so it's going to be a fun class. Going back and forth. You know, she's obviously her training as a lawyer is and being involved in the forms committee is, you know, we'll provide some friendly dialogue and friendly debate. So if you want to attend, I don't know how we're doing with space or room, but 10-1
And that's right, because he likes to meet people at exactly 11 o'clock. But if you want to know the truth, everybody asks me. I'm 40 years old. I was licensed when I was 21. I started in real estate when I was 20. I used to get things from AAR. We would get them through the mail. We would get them through the fax machine. We get them a lot of different ways. But the 2 names that remain pretty consistent on those were Jim Sexton and Michelle Lind. And I worked primarily in the West Valley. I married into the Air Force. I lived on Luke and we lived in Surprise. I mean, you ask me about West Valley, I can like map it still to this day. That was my center base. Let me tell you about the West Valley. We can't afford attorneys. So when people would say, I'm going to sue you, we'd be like, that's interesting. Let me know when that happens. We take that risk, right? You know, we try to solve it, but we take the risk. On this side of town, they would send us all this articles and updates from AAR. And Mr. Sexton and Miss Lind are the 2 people that allowed me to grow outside of my office space, that started turning on light bulbs. And I really thought they just got really drunk and made up situations to write about. Because like there was no way half this stuff was real. There was no way.
These situations found us there.
And then I came over to this office 5 years ago and I was terrified. Guys, I didn't know the East Valley. This is east to me. I'm not going more east, so just like bear with me here. And I realized that everybody has an attorney, was a attorney, is related to an attorney, or can afford an attorney. And then I realized their stories were real, but because of that knowledge base that they bestowed in me, and I got to dig deep, I got to start going to meetings that I wouldn't even talk to him. Like, he terrified me. Like, just his knowledge base alone just absolutely terrified me. Because what if I was wrong, right? Like, isn't that the space though? Isn't this the space where the meetings we go to are the things that we're supposed to be wrong so we can be right in front of our clients? And without his knowledge base and her knowledge base, I wouldn't be who I am. So please come to class. If I do get over the limit of upstairs, we will move it down here and close the bullpen for 3 hours. Because I don't want anybody to miss out on the opportunities that I have sucked up through the years. And by the way, how he got me to talk to him, one day I didn't have a chair at a meeting, and he said, you know, you can sit next to me, I don't bite. And I was like, and then I made jokes the rest of the time, and now we've been friends. But Michelle used to tell me when she was on the legal hotline that the only call she didn't want to take was Jim's because he was just going to argue with her. But isn't that how we get our answers too? I want you to do one thing for Valentine's with that cure notice, okay? Because that is your sweetheart Valentine's for me to you. Is ask yourself, if I could see both sides of where I would use this, and I can argue both points, where's the best result in protecting and promoting for my client? I love my client. And think of it in a different way. And with that, guys, go sell houses, be happy, meet people, go talk to humans, and grab a heart. Those are from Carla, our Phoenix WCR president. Have a great day, guys.
Any Thursday, 10 p.m. or 10 p.m.
Yes.
Clerks.
So they make these little computers that.
I've heard about it. That's how this has on it, and I like looking at mine.
You know, they have these things called clouds. Don't know where they exist. And what happened, like.
About this fancy little portable desktop thing.
My briefcase.
I don't know what the exact price could be.
Call that cat and ass, you know, him.
Wait,
So when is it listed as? I don't know. I can know more. So in 2 weeks.
4, 5, 6.
No, not both.
I saw you walking across the parking lot like 3 times and circling around really fast. And so I used you as a.
How many bedrooms?
Date. I drove across the street and parked. Yeah. And it came running. No place to park and it gave up. So I parked on the other side of the street and I was in the door right behind you. I thought, see, I'm not, I think it's so bad. I just had to walk outside the parks because there was nothing. And you just walk in, I was like, okay. I was a little cool. Here we go. Right. You know what I mean? Where you with the floor signature on time.
You know, much inspired shell. You apply. And I got
Valentine's Day.
Oh,
That's for you, right? Happy Valentine's Day.
okay.
There you go. Get a heart. You got all that, but you get a little one to have for yourself. The box you can give away. Like you got it. Stop logging hearts for that.
You get chocolate covered strawberries. You know, from my mom and my wife, and then I get a box. That's what I understood too. You know what? I knew when this guy called me, he was gonna be the death of me. Because he's one of those people that says, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk, let's communicate, bring this deal together. And I'm like, why? You know? I don't wanna come to an agreement, you know, just like. I'm getting- So my conversations with him is, yeah, your place just fell out of escrow. I'm reaching out to the other ones to see if they can get a better offer out of them. You got a really cool bike, I see. You got one. You cheat sometimes. And then you're talking about it. Then it's kind of like he comes back. It's like, so it was just telling me you want 4, I'll take nothing less than 490. Take 490 if they want to add any of their numbers on top of it, throw it on top. So I think I just, I think that's what I did. I sent text emails to both of them. I hate when that listing expired, you know, I hate anything over 90 days. Or I don't wanna do it. I don't know what happened. Here from, you know? Get this thing out of here, so. It's like, can't do that one of the reasons. And I know whatever Jeff gets, that rate is gonna come in low. I know it's gonna come in low. Because you're not gonna like his house. Originally, yeah, we got like at least, so we went through a weird fight. So
Hey, are you gonna use my keyboard? No.
I'm glad you're it.
It's a big. So we have to like check all of our stuff. We haven't. Our thing. So, you know. Yeah. Yeah, well.
That is a day. That's like. So was he over the price? Here's my card, and then the real estate agent card. Ending out. It didn't matter. I think he was, asked them if he was my Zio. And well, then I was good at something. I'm gonna see, I don't have a video, but I should definitely. So forgive me. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice to have a buffer.
I need to find somebody that is going to somebody. So if you know anybody that is. It's going, it doesn't have houses, they have a one bedroom. You just hear me.
I know, I will have a plan.
Go up there.
Oh, we're not figuring out.
I don't know, I. If you like something out. Or we had like a colored rug over the tub and over the. Just to keep it clean, then it's hard to implement. Now, like the shower, you know, like land.
Something hanging out below her garage, or is
The only thing.
It's a weird thing. It's like. Like, I'll send her something like.
Well, your annual. Now, Dr. The art.
I did. I got you. All right.
Yeah. He's supposed to be doing the walkthrough. Yeah. Hopefully she wants to do a walkthrough and now schedule it for Monday. There's not that.
Full price is one. But this president is. I mean, if you want me to go, I don't. You think you would like that? I have to shower.
So did he ever submit that one? No. So I just showed him what, right now, spends in my time. I mean, I think it's funny, like, when she's like, oh, no, that doesn't, like, so far, it's the thing, you know. I mean, I'm sure. Now, I mean. Walking through, like, she's going to get work up to stay. At what point? So you're the walker, do the walker. Okay. And then. Bill's like, I got her house. Actually. Let me know if I can help you. Karen, it's great seeing you. Good luck. Even a better reason to sell a condo. Audrey, you seriously leaving without talking to me? Oh, whatever. The nerve. I do. Well, you're nice to me, Carla. Oh, so does it have like Scotsman Association? I just have to look up their address. It's on Andrews. I look at it. And then the one here is on Thursday. There's one on Thursday. Yeah. And that one's here and that's contract. And that one doesn't start until 10/8. So you need me to help you. We'll talk about that. Yeah. You let me know. Oh, yeah, that's what she wants to do. You got this, Carla. All right, so get the address and everything. We'll work on it, okay? No problem, girl.
So, send text messages, but
Yes.
I wanted to clarify something with you first. So we're past the period, well, it's 3 days. Since out, right? So we're allowed to cancel it, but, we still don't have. We talked about-
Let them know that if they're originally, we're not gonna hear. But at the same time, they can cancel and get out of the property. Nothing is ever guaranteed with permission.
Alternatively, we could rescind the cancellation if they want to.
Like you've done with the vendor. Yeah. Always do that.
cancel.
Within the time period before. And it's- Finger.
Feeling that they told me this, which is very. I don't know, We give you the opportunity to do it. It's kind of funny to see in my head. Trying to fit like some use of that. Like, being as we're so close, right? We're not gonna understand, we're so close, but I don't want to keep giving him false hope because who knows, he might not be today, maybe tomorrow.
And you can decide tomorrow if you're gonna, give notice of cancellation to that escrow company, or if you're gonna continue to wait to see if it's any addendum, this is what they say.
Being as they're already past the cure period. Yeah.
Happy Valentine's. Are you sure? No. You thank you so much. Thank you.
It's,
That.
If for some reason now we haven't we can interview cancel this transaction and close it.
Well, what are they in breach of? I mean, it depends on their. Oh, all of them. No. Okay,
I don't know.
so they're definitely in breach of 2B, so that.
The question is if perhaps, you know,
They're my favorite.
they or same time, tell the lender, hey,
Okay.
if you can move forward, you can get loan denial type of thing.
They can get loan denial, but they haven't fulfilled any of the other items in 2B, so they never cured that. So they can get it, but we're still.
Would that be outside of the transaction or would it be just basically?
Well,
do not release anything?
Our instructions don't release it to our attorneys. We're not fighting the partner right now because they have an attorney. Their attorney can fight for it. But yeah, we would, I mean, all day long, they can get loan denial, but that doesn't give them the ability, if they still haven't fulfilled that cure.
I just need to let them know what their options are right now. If you could cancel right now.
Yep.
Which would then, you know, we would ask for release of earnest money.
No, we wouldn't. We would say the earnest money is being disputed. We would not necessarily reason to have with this client. Let's just walk your. Do you have a purchase contract up? I still. And they're. Completely old sometimes. No face with that. My next is so, yeah, like this much of my happy come true. Oh my God. Oh God, yeah. You don't oh my God. And then we go to. I. Well, we're being, but.
Want to make sure that first time the declaration. Just want to make sure it was.
You see? I left my phone.
Oh.
Same day.
Oh, yeah.
Our side. No. This work.
No, you're gonna say this is what the other agent told me about the end, this is what your options are today, and this is what the contract has, but you know. Oh. You're perfect.
Yeah.
And
Julie that's looking for the.
Julie Chapman, Chapman, let me see how I spell her last name. Julie Chapman. Okay, yeah, CHAFFIN. I think in my phone I put Chapman by mistake one day, but it's Chapman. I just have Julie's off. If you all could just rename your last names, like the awesome, wonderful, absolutely amazing. Well, no, I could remember all your last names.
Oh, there you go.
I was just coming in to say hello and see how you're doing. Yeah, things to talk about.
Oh, I have.
Like, I'm going to be there too, so. Not. No matter what, it affects. Oh, my, you know. How do I? You know, we have 5 minutes now. So I can just review what my role is. You like that now? How about let you finish what you're doing? The reason this isn't working for you guys is
I'm trying to get a certificate.
And then
The
you have
zero,
three.
actually zero, so I can use this.
Do you have a certificate?
Yeah. Is it expired?
Yeah, sure do.
Oh, I have one for Stephanie and.
Does it have, per calendar year?
This is next.
Okay, so what you have is, you're going to have that same negative 600, so you're gonna just like. That, Louise fixes it to make that zero not zero, but that should equal negative 600 guys. Yeah, so she'll take care of the other stuff, there's no. And.
All right, you want me to do this first before I can talk to you or not?
That'd be lovely, since you're in the middle of it, I hate it when people interrupt me. But when I do houses too. Madison and Audrey, we really need to join WCR this year in the Phoenix chapter. Carla?
Thank you, Mandy.
You're welcome.
Are you WCR? WCR.
Yeah, of the chapter. Like, we gotta support a girl, you know, support a friend, and she has really good events that we can go to on the side town.
Well, excellent.
And then we can meet other WCR folks, and we can take all their business.